recently shared that I'm going to be a first-year kindergarten teacher, and I've gotten quite a few questions on how I got here. So I figured I would just sit down and kind of talk about my journey to teaching, because I do not have the traditional teaching journey. My story is a little bit different. So I actually did not originally want to be a teacher. I graduated high school with my associate's degree. My high school had like a dual enrollment program. And when I was going into college, I originally wanted to go for something medical. So my plan was to get my degree in biology and then kind of decide what I wanted to do in the medical field after that. But since I got my associate's degree in high school, I was only going to college for 2 years. I did not have that much time to like change my mind and decide what I wanted to do. So I did 1 semester of biology and medical classes, and I hated it. I was really good at it, but I did not like it. So at that point, I only had a 1.5 years left. So I kind of needed to decide what I wanted to do so that I could get my classes done. So I settled on getting a business degree, specifically in marketing. And my focus was actually in digital, like social media marketing. So it's kind of crazy now that I have this platform that I'm kind of using my social media marketing skills for. So I graduated high school in 2021. In 2023, I graduated college with a degree in marketing. All of this was happening in Indiana, where I'm from and grew up. After graduating from college in 2023, we actually moved to Denver, me and my now fiance. We moved to Denver and I got a job in marketing. This job was super duper fun, but I just knew that it wasn't going to be a good long-term fit. One thing about me is that I have a really big heart, and I felt like in marketing, my heart wasn't being put to use, if that makes sense. I wasn't making an impact on anyone or anything in my marketing job. I mean, was I really damn good at social media marketing? Absolutely. It was actually for a dress store that I did marketing for, and I had like several viral videos. Like, I did very good at this job, but I just knew that it wasn't a long-term fit for me. Now, I never really even considered teaching. I don't know why, but that was just never one of the career paths that I even like thought about in high school or anything. Growing up, I had just always had my mindset on something medical because I'm pretty smart. My mind was just always on like, I'm gonna go be a doctor because I can be. I never really thought about what I wanted to do or what I would be happy doing. I don't know. So while I was working this marketing job, I kind of had a switch of mindset of not what I'm going to be good at doing, but what I'm going to love doing. While we were living in Denver, we were kind of wanting to move back home to Indiana. And then at that same time we were thinking about moving home, the school that I grew up at posted a kindergarten IA job. Now, kindergarten IA is like a paraprofessional. It's a kindergarten instructional assistant. So I'm not actually teaching, I'm just an instructional assistant. I'm like going room to room and assisting the teachers, working with the kids, pulling small groups, stuff like that. I never even thought about working with kids. I had no experience working with kids. I had no experience teaching, nothing. Literally, I had no idea if I was gonna like it or not. Long story short, I got hired for that. We moved back all within like a week. And within my first day of working this job, I'm not gonna get emotional right now. I get emotional when I talk about anything ever. So within my first day of working this job, I had a come to realization moment about, oh my God, this is what I meant to do. It was an insane feeling, an insane like, wow, okay, this is it. That was in October of 2024. That winter, going into that spring semester, I enrolled in a transition to teaching program. A transition to teaching program is for people who have an undergraduate degree in something that's not teaching and you want to transition to teaching. It's a year of online courses, and then it was a semester of student teaching. So from October of 2024 through January of 2026, I was working as a kindergarten IA while taking online courses for my transition to teaching. And then January of 2026, this year, I started student teaching in first grade. I originally wanted to student teach in kindergarten, but the principal at my school figured it would be good for me to get out of kindergarten for a little bit because that's all I had ever done. And I'm so glad that she did that for me because I loved first grade. Like, I don't even want to talk about my student teaching experience because I'll start crying. My student teaching experience was the best 16 weeks of my whole life. Like, why am I crying? Why am I like this? Since I was in first grade, I was actually student teaching the kids that I was working with the year prior in kindergarten, because that year prior was my first year working as a kindergarten IA. So I was student teaching the kids that I had already worked with before, which like, it made the whole thing so much more special. And I don't think anyone will ever understand how much I loved my student teaching class. This is nothing to be crying over right now, but I know it seems dramatic, but I cry every time I think about my student teaching class because I'm never gonna get to teach them again, and it's like, I just love those kids, okay? Intermission. Okay, anyways, student teaching ended in May of this year, and then that was the end of my graduate program. I took all my praxis tests in January before I even started student teaching. I wanted to get my praxis exams out of the way and out of my head, and I ended up passing all 5 of them on the first try. I was very proud of that. I took all my praxis exams, student teaching ended, and then my graduate program was complete. So from that point on, I have my teaching license, and I was ready to become a teacher now. Clearly, my goal was to stay at this one school that I was at. It's where I started my kindergarten IA job. It's where I student taught. It's where I grew up at school, but there were no teacher openings. I kind of had to expand my horizons. So lo and behold, a neighboring school had posted an elementary teacher job, but they did not specify what grade. So basically it could have been anything K through 5. Now, something about me is that I don't want to teach over 2nd grade. No offense to the 3rd grade and up, but I am very, very good at working with the littles. I feel like it's a skill to be able to teach 5-year-olds, and I've gotten really good at it. But going into this interview, I had no idea what grade it was going to be. Go through this whole interview, and then at the end, I was like, hey, so what grade is it for? I was so excited because she said kindergarten, of course. Sitting in front of her at this interview, and I was like, well, kindergarten's my dream. So like, the interview was on a Monday, and then on Wednesday, I get a phone call. I got the call being offered the job. I didn't even say yes. I just like started yelling on the phone. She said, hi Jasmine, I have some great news and hopefully you have a good answer for me. I was like, okay. And she was like, we would love for you to be our newest kindergarten teacher. And on the phone I was like, yay! Of course, that was like the best news ever. I am so excited. My entire car right now is packed full of things that I'm taking to my kindergarten classroom. I don't have my keys yet, but when I do, I get to go set it up. I am switching districts and switching schools. It's gonna be a new school, but I'm so excited. If I have one piece of advice, it's to follow your heart. If your heart is calling you to something or somewhere, listen to that. I mean, literally on my first day of being a kindergarten IA, I knew that I was going to work in kindergarten for the rest of my life. Here I am in 2026, and my literal dream, everything that I've worked so hard for over the past 2 years, is coming true. I'm literally gonna be a kindergarten teacher. My vow of becoming a kindergarten teacher is that I don't know what these kids go home to. I don't know what they have in their life. They could have nothing. My job is to be there for them and to love them. I just love these little babies. Like, I feel like my purpose in this life is to love these kids, to teach them and to help them grow and to mentor them. I'm going to be someone that's there for them for the rest of their lives, to give them everything that I possibly can. So yeah, that's my spiel. That's my long story of how I got to where I'm at today in my teaching journey. It's not the traditional teaching journey route. Hopefully this clears up your questions if you had any, or if you were just curious of how I got to this point. Follow your dreams. Life is short. Do what you love and what's going to make you happy, because you never know, you might find what you were meant to do for the rest of your life, like I did. So cheers to that. Thanks for listening to me up. Love you. Bye.